Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is qualifying ahead of the 2022 Mexico City Grand Prix. If you are new to this channel, if you are a Formula 1 fan, then please do get yourself subscribed and live for every single qualifying like today and every single race from the Formula 1 World Championship. This is round 20 of 22. Only 3 races to go now in the 2022 season. Already been wrapped up by Max Verstappen, of course, and Red Bull last week in the US. But welcome in. We are done with practice. It has been a long stint to get through practice. Let me tell you. Let me turn this music down. Hang on a minute. So yeah, just whack that music down. I don't want that on for the full thing. But yeah, it has been a slog to get through these practice sessions because even FP2 wasn't even a practice session. It was a tyre test for 2023. So, but now we get to the real track action. Now we get to the real where it really matters. And absolutely buzzing for this one. Mercedes looking as good as they've looked all season. More competitive than they've looked all season. Can they convert that? Can they convert that pace that they've shown in practice a couple of hours ago into qualifying pace? Can they get on the front row? You know, this has got to be Mercedes' best chance of pole position and victory this season. I know George Russell did get a pole position in Hungary, but that was in damp conditions, I think. But this could be a genuine pole position for Mercedes. It's just a shame that it's taken them 9 months and 20 races to catch up. But I think they have finally caught up now. They're looking rapid, Mercedes. And I'd love to see Lewis Hamilton get that win before the end of the season. Obviously, to keep that record going, Lewis Hamilton is the only driver in F1 history to get a victory in every single race he's competed in. That record hangs by a thread with 3 races to go and no victories yet in 2022. And I did see them messing around with, I think, the front right of Hamilton's car. There was a bit of panic, so I don't know what's going on with Lewis's car. It should be all good, but it looked a bit last-minute alterations or problems for Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, welcome in Donald and Nitai. Welcome to the stream, guys. I'll refresh the live timings in a minute, and it should be loaded up. With the session starting in about 10 minutes. Let me get the headphones on so I know what's going on. So if there is any updates and there is an actual problem for Hamilton's car, then I can let you know. Let's have a listen. What's going on? They're not focusing on Lewis's car, so I assume it's not a big problem. Hopefully it's all good. Red Bull newly crowned, of course, Constructors' Championship. But yeah, Ted Kravitz just mentioning that Mercedes looking quick. Oh, and I think they've sorted out Lewis's car. Yeah, it looks fine. The panic is over. Panic stations are over on that one. In the UK, I've been in the UK for a full year, Nitai, yeah. A full 12 months I've been back in the UK, mate. I wish I was dipping round to each race like you do. Yeah, I wish I was on a world tour like you are. Yeah, can you sneak me in your luggage next time you go, Nitai? You know what I mean? I'll go in the hand luggage, folded up, and you can get me to all the Middle Eastern races and all the rest of them that you go to. Sounds like you're living the dream there, my mate. In fact, incidentally, this is one of the few races that I have actually been to. I did actually go to the Mexican Grand Prix 2015. I was there. That was the first race back after like a 15-20 year hiatus of no Mexican Grand Prix. The first one back after 20 years, I was there. And it wasn't the best race in the world. It wasn't the best. It was in the Mercedes domination era where they used to just lap the entire field. And we had I think it was a Mercedes 1-2. I think Rosberg won it. And the other thing that we killed it as well is I went the week after Hamilton had won the championship. He just wrapped up the championship and then I went to the following race. So I would have loved to have been at a championship deciding race, but it was the one afterwards. So, you know, get in. At home working remotely, yeah, same. 32 There's 32 different Paddock Club lounges. Where? What do you mean in total? How does that work when there's 22 races? There's 32 Paddock Clubs. Where are the other 10 paddock clubs? Mexico, yeah. Oh, you got Sergio? No way, man. I hope you recover quickly, Nitai, and you're back on the road, again. And yeah, qualifying starting in about 7 or 8 minutes. And can George Russell get a pole position? Can Lewis Hamilton get a pole position? Or has it all been smoke and daggers on Red Bull's part and Ferrari's part? Are they really going to come out with a true pace in quali? Look at Lando's special edition cap, Mexican style cap for this weekend, looking good. As we see Sergio Perez's special edition crash helmet as well in the back of the Red Bull garage, just making some last minute adjustments to car number 11. And there's the fans. Absolutely buzzing atmosphere as well in Mexico. It's got to be top 5 in terms of atmosphere. You know, it might not be top 5 in terms of circuits, but it's top 5 in terms of atmosphere. Unbelievable. You know, it's got to be up there with British Grand Prix, Italian Grand Prix. You know, the ones that really slap in terms of atmosphere, probably Spa is going to be up there, and Mexico. You know, US has got to be up there in terms of atmosphere now. I think there was 450,000 attendees in Austin, Texas last week. I think it's 330,000 due to attend this weekend as well. Yo, Waze, how we doing, bro? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to qualifying. Did you miss anything? No, nothing much, Kim, from what I can remember. Not really in practice. No big incidents. Mercedes are looking very good. Mercedes were 1-2 at the end of the session. But yeah, not a hell of a lot of talking points from final practice. But now when it starts to get real. Now when we get into qualifying, it starts to get real. Falls on the Day of the Dead celebration as well, yeah. Yeah. What a festival atmosphere that is, Day of the Dead. In fact, it's like a full weekend thing. It's mad. And it's sort of a celebration of the dead. Strange one. So it works. It's on the day, yeah. Lose a pole. I'd fully back it, mate. Top of the tree. Yeah, top of the tree aways. You'd be hoping for a Nottingham Forest big performance tomorrow, innit? See what they can pull out of the bag. Hey, maybe Jesse Lingard will come in clutch. You never know, always. Lingard with the double. No, I doubt it, man. Arsenal slapping 4-0. But yeah, here we go for the for Quali. About to get underway in a few minutes. Oh, top of the tree. Oh, the camera angle. Yeah, when it's Quali in the race, bam, chair in the bin. We get fully up for it, full commentary mode. Because practice is kind of a casual one. I just chat and chill and just what I do, I read the comments out and I just let the conversation just go in all kinds of different tangents. I think me and Kim was talking about Emmerdale yesterday. You know what I mean? I'll just let the conversation go in all different directions because there's not a hell of a lot to commentate on when it's practice. But when you get into qualifying and when you get into the race, the vibe changes. We stand up because all the best Formula 1 commentators, they do not sit down and commentate on Formula 1. You will not see them sat on their arse commentating on F1, mate. It is adrenaline. So yeah, we're on full commentary mode now for qualifying. Enthralling. It was that enthralling. We were thinking about doing an Emmerdale watch along, weren't we, Kim? That's how good practice was yesterday. It was like, should we put Emmerdale on or what? I probably would have done, Kim, if you didn't say, oh, it's a funeral or something. I was like, oh, forget it then, it's just boring. I mean, it's dead. Like, it was dark. So I was like, no, keep the F1 on. No, practice was mad yesterday. Like, It's basically a tyre test, which is, you know, wow. I mean, if I can commentate on an hour and a half Pirelli tyre test, I could do anything. But yeah, the grandstands look absolutely packed for qualifying in Mexico. And that's where I was sat as well, in that stadium section, and the just before the final corner is where I was sat some 7 years ago. I wish I was there right now to experience that atmosphere again. Yeah, it's a proper one. I need to be hyped. Yeah, exactly, Aways. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You know, you're gonna be on a hype. You're gonna be on a hype, because if I'm not, who is gonna be? Right, let's refresh the. Let's refresh the timings, and hopefully it comes up. Yeah, there we go. I'll hit refresh on it because it always needs a refresh anyway, so we might as well do that now. And then hopefully the live timings will be fully live. They've got the Drivers' Championship up on screen there. Verstappen 391 points, Leclerc 267. So Max has not only won this championship, he's absolutely dominated it. I think he's won, what, 13 out of 19 races. And that Red Bull, I saw a graphic before that. This Red Bull, what is it? RB, what is it? RB18? Are they up to? They did RB16, RB16B, and then I think it's Red Bull RB18 is now, I think, in the top 5 or 6 most dominant Formula One cars of all time. So it's a hell of a car, and Verstappen has taken it to victory 13 times this season, and that is a record. That is joint top for most wins in a season with Michael Schumacher in 2002, and I think Sebastian Vettel 2013. I think they also won 13 races in 1 year. As we're saying in practice, though, that stat's kind of not really fair, because if you've got more races, like nowadays there's more races, so there's more chances to... It's not a fair test. So yeah, if Verstappen wins one more race out of these last 3, he will break the record for most wins in a season. Yeah, Schumacher, Vettel and Verstappen, all with 13 races in 1 year. But the thing is, back in Schumacher's day, let's say Schumacher won 13 races, right? Well, he did in 2002. There's probably only 15, 16 races in that year. So Schumacher's won 13 out of 16, whereas Verstappen winning 13 out of 22 is still massively impressive. Don't get me wrong. He's still absolutely run riot and dominated the season, but it's not really comparable because there's more races. Why'd you leave Mexico? Oh, it's a long, depressing story, Nitai. But my life has had a full reset. You know when you reset your PC and you do full shutdown and reset everything, and it takes 10 minutes to boot back up? That's what's happened to my life, Nitai. So I've had a full reboot. What do you think about Red Bull overspeeding? I assume you mean overspending. I think the punishment is fair. Yeah. I think the punishment fits the crime, because even though a €7 million fine is not really scratching the surface, it's not the money. It's the real punishment is the 10% less wind tunnel time. That's the real punishment, because that is more valuable than money. That's more valuable than anything. The only thing more valuable than wind tunnel time is actual on-circuit testing time. And that's, you know, obviously extremely regulated. So wind tunnel time is absolutely critical. So every hour less or every minute less than you get than your competitors, you're at a big disadvantage. So taking 10% of that off them is a big hit. Not to mention the fact that Red Bull are champions now, so they already, with the regulations, they already get less wind tunnel time than everyone anyway, because they work in a reverse order. So the team that finishes last gets the most wind tunnel time for the following season, and then the team that finishes first gets the least amount of wind tunnel time. So that's the real punishment, and Red Bull will feel that. And the thing is, with Mercedes finishing third in constructors this year, Mercedes will get considerably more wind tunnel time than Red Bull. So I'll tell you what, it's teeing it up for a good championship next season, because Red Bull are going to be pulled back a peg, and you've got Ferrari and Mercedes that will hopefully kick on a peg, and you never know. Then we might get six. Then we might get a six-way championship fight. You know, fingers crossed. We might get another 2010 where you've got 5 drivers in the fight. Well, probably not, but if we can have a good championship battle next year, I'd be absolutely buzzing. Yeah. Yeah. Championship points. No, I think championship points would be too much. If you start taking points, then you're going down a dangerous road there. Do you start taking victories off? And it's not just about Verstappen, it's about Perez as well. People think it's all about Verstappen, it's about Perez. And you're taking points off Perez as well? You know, remember, this is not just a one-driver team. I don't know. I don't think points is the right way to go about it. Neither is a fine, to be honest. A €7 million fine. A fine isn't the way. What they should have done, what was an even better punishment, the wind tunnel thing, yeah, it's a great punishment. Also, the other thing they should have done is taken whatever they'd overspent by, and there's mixed reports on that, whatever they'd overspent by, take that off the budget for the following year. You know? So if you spent £5 million too much, take that off next year's budget. But I think the reality is it's overspent by less than $1 million. It's like 750k, which in Formula One standards is like 50p over budget. You know what I mean? It's not. Anyway, we're well underway for Q1. If you are new to Formula One, if you're new to the qualifying date in F1, it's split into 3 sections. So it's 3 segments, three sessions. So it's Q1, Q2 and Q3. This is Q1. It's an 18-minute session. We're already 4 minutes into it, but not a lot happens in the first couple of minutes. Yeah, so it's split Q1, Q2, Q3. Q1 is just about not being in that slowest 5 and getting through to Q2. If you are in that bottom 5 when the timer runs out, you are knocked out, eliminated, and your grid position is then set in stone for the Grand Prix tomorrow. Then, if you're in that top 15 and you get through, you go through to Q2, at the end of which, that's a 15-minute session, at the end of which the bottom 5 from 11th through to 15th, they get knocked out and their grid position will be set in stone. And then the top 10 go through to Q3, the pole position shootout, at the end of which it's all decided who will start the front of the grid for the Mexico Grand Prix, or the 2022 Mexico City Grand Prix, they're calling it. So yeah, this is all about not being in the bottom 5. And so far, Schumacher, Magnussen, Stroll, Albon and Latifi have set decent lap times as Vettel goes P3. Only the top 6 or 7 have set lap times so far. We've got 12.5 minutes to go, at the end of which people will be knocked out, and that's where you want to avoid. As Sergio Perez comes around the final sector, and the fans, unbelievable atmosphere, and Sergio Perez has got more support than any other driver, any other race, I would say. It's unbelievable. He's got like 300,000 people cheering him on. It's unbelievable. It's more support than probably Hamilton has at the British Grand Prix. Especially because he's the only one Mexican driver. So the attention isn't even being split between 2 or 3 drivers. All the attention is on Sergio Perez in Mexico. And it's a lot of weight on your shoulders. It's a lot of pressure. But if you can pull off a good result, you're the hero of the hour. Perez on a flying lap then into the middle sector he comes. He's got to be careful. They cut right across that. I think it's turn 7. Oh, he had to double guess it there. He got a snap of oversteer in the middle of the high speed turn 10 and 11, and had to correct it. down into the final stadium section. Now he goes, where we've seen a lot of drivers run wide as well coming into that stadium section. Getting the lap times deleted, I'm sure, in quali if they do that. As Tsunoda goes quickest and on a 1 minute 20.5, but Perez will probably smash that as he comes around the final corner and goes only a tenth and a half quicker than Yuki Tsunoda's AlphaTauri. Verstappen complained about sliding, but Perez does go quickest, 1 minute 20.4. Tsunoda tenth and a half off. Albon half a second off that, and then you've got Gasly, Schumacher, Magnussen, Vettel, Latifi, Stroll and Ricciardo, as we see Lewis Hamilton on an outlap getting the car prepared, as Leclerc goes quickest by 9/10 of a second, a 1 minute 19.5, and lowers the bar significantly there with 10.5 minutes to go in Q1. And Lewis just winding it up now, out of the final corner, ready to start a flying lap. And yeah, Max Verstappen back end sliding everywhere in turn 1. They're really aggressive over that curb in turn 2, and he already backed out of it. By the time he got to turn 3, he backed out of it. Max Verstappen, wow, not an ideal start. And you can see him wrestling with the car again in the first sector. Max Verstappen heading up then to turn 4. Is the newly crowned double world champion with his special edition golden helmet that he's wearing this weekend. As we see Lewis Hamilton going purple, fastest of anybody in sector 1. Ricciardo's just gone third as well, so it's now Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo top 3. It's early days in Q1, you can't read too much into that at the minute. We'll see when we get towards the end of the session. Hamilton a 10th up on his personal best in the middle sector. So Verstappen through the stadium, round the final corner, then long final corner it is in Mexico City. Sainz goes P2, so we're sat on a Ferrari 1-2 at the minute, but that gets beaten by Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, 1 minute 19.2, and Hamilton goes third. So makes it Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton top 3. Norris goes 5th on a 1 minute 20.3 then. So we've got both McLarens in the top 8 as Russell goes 5th on a 1:19.8, 6/10 of a second off Max Verstappen's Red Bull. Come on, Merc. Come on, Mercedes. What have you got? Where's your practice 3 pace? Let's have it. Let's be having you. As we see Esteban Ocon coming through that fast change of direction, middle sector, heading down towards turn 13. Yeah, a lot of drivers running wide on the exit of turn 13 in practice, but you've got to be careful you don't do that in quali. As Alonso goes P6 for Alpine, as we see Esteban Ocon round the final corner and beats that and goes P6 himself. So Alpine now sits 6th and 7th, a second off the pace. And Bottas in the Alfa Romeo goes 3rd. That puts the cat amongst the pigeons. Wow, 3/10 off the pace. Quicker than Lewis Hamilton by 4/1000th of a second. That's really, well, put the cat amongst the pigeons, like I said. That's really unusual. With Valtteri Bottas, who hasn't scored a single point in the second half of the season, looking to be on a mad one in Mexico. Traffic, loads of understeering, locking everywhere, says George Russell. That is not a good review of the situation. But yeah, so with 7 minutes to go, then we're more than halfway through this Q1 session. 7 minutes to go. It's Verstappen from Leclerc, Bottas, Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Ocon, Alonso, Norris, Perez, top 10. Then we've got Zhou, Gasly, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Stroll. And in the bottom 5 then, with 7 minutes to go, is Schumacher, Albon, Vettel, Magnussen, Latifi. But that will all change before the time runs out. Hope the stream isn't glitching. Hope we're all smooth as an otter's pocket. Because I know yesterday in practice and today in final practice, the stream's been a bit we've been a bit on a laggy one. I don't know what's been going on, but hopefully we're doing all right there, my lad. So Perez is only P10 at the moment, so he needs to improve. Yeah, needs to improve, does Sergio Perez. You're not going to be feeling too safe there in P10. Especially with Verstappen on a 1:19.2, you know, Perez is over a second behind his teammates' time, so he definitely needs to improve. Perez winding up then for another flying lap. We're getting towards the end of this Q1 session then. And so Sergio round the final couple of corners to start another flying lap. And needs to improve. 1.2 seconds off the pace in P10. DRS wide open as he heads down to turn 1. Sergio Perez hard on the brakes. Then we've got a right, left, right sequence. And not as aggressive over the curb in turn 2. Which is probably what I'd do. I'd be on a smooth. I think smooth's the way. But you see him bouncing over that orange curb on the inside of 2 and 3. But Perez keeping it nice and clean. Neat and tidy so far. Rounds 6 and 7. Double right-hander. And then really cutting the corner in turn 8. Turn 9. Turn 10, 11 rapid. 12's flat out. 13, 90-degree right-hander. Don't go wide on the exit. Turn 14. Hairpin. Stadium section. The fans on their feet as he comes round the final couple of corners then. He's personal best for Perez in the first and middle sector. He comes round now to cross the line and goes 6th. Well, he should be safe with that. A 1:19.7 for Sergio Perez is still half a second off Verstappen's earlier lap time. Oh, you see, Carlos Sainz has pushed the boundary too much. They've pushed the limits too much. They're trying to cut that corner too much, man. I don't know what they need to. They need to do something about this. They're virtually completely cutting the corner at turn. What would it be? That turn, if you think 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, turn 9. They're virtually cutting turn 9. And Sainz went a bit too far then and lost the rear of the car because he's basically got the entire car over the inside curb. It's getting to the point where the FIA are going to be looking at that and going, really? Does turn 9 exist anymore? Or are we just going straight across the curb? Or what? What's the scenario? As the two Mercs head back out on track with 2.5 minutes to go in Q1. So just as a reminder, the bottom 5 are knocked out at the end of this session. So it's all about being in that top 15 and getting through. And in that bottom 5 at the minute is Stroll, Schumacher, Albon, Vettel, Latifi. So it's both Aston Martins, both Williams and Mick Schumacher's Haas in that bottom 5 with 2 minutes to go. Come on, Mick. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got, Mick. Let's get out of Q1, Mick. Come on, lad. Your career hangs in the balance. Or replay. As I say, come on, Mick. We get a replay on board with Mick Schumacher. And it's so aggressive into turn 2. What? So he's gone off track limits. Right. So Mick is that aggressive in turn 2 that he's completely cut the corner and had his lap time deleted. They're pushing it too far now. They're pushing it too far. People, everyone winding up for one final flying lap in Q1 then. We're on board with Pierre Gasly helmet camera as he starts his final flying lap of Q1 in hopes of getting through. Into the braking zone, turn 1. Pierre Gasly, who has signed for Alpine for 2023. Pierre, the Frenchman, going to be alongside Esteban Ocon at Alpine for next season, and that'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top there. Coming round turn 5, 6, 7, the double right-hander, sort of a double hairpin, double apex hairpin, and then turn 8, and then turn 9 where they take too much curb, and then 10, 11. You need good downforce through the middle sector. Tricky final sector as well, around the hairpin and under the stadium. It's a really tricky, slow section of the circuit, and then you open it up onto the start-finish straight, and Gasly goes P12, and the time's ran out, so it's P12 at best. I think Gasly's in trouble. Schumacher's going to be out. Mick's going to be out. He's P14. He's safe at the moment, but if a couple of people improve, he's in that drop zone. Oh, Schumacher drops to 15th as Ricciardo goes 13th then. So Schumacher's... Albon and Latifi are both out then. Albon 18th, Latifi 20th. Vettel improves, but doesn't go ahead of Mick. So Vettel's out. Vettel's out in 16th. Can Mick get through here? Mick might be able to get through. Stroll 18th. Both Astons out. Hamilton goes quickest on a 1 minute 19.1. Is Mick through? Oh my God. As Schumacher and Vettel set exactly the same time. It's all on Zhou Guanyu here. Zhou Guanyu 17th at the minute. If Zhou beats Schumacher, then Schumacher's out. It's Zhou versus Schumacher in Q1. Coming around the final corner. Oh, does beat him. And does. Mick's out. 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 And he ain't going to be here next year, is he? He ain't going to be here next year, is he? I've got to enjoy these last 3 races of Mick Schumacher because he ain't going to be here next year. He's out. He's P16. Weirdly, Schumacher and Vettel have set exactly the same lap time, but they're 1.25 seconds off the pace, and they're both out. So, Latifi's out in 20th. Of course he is. That goes without saying. Albon's out, P19. Lance Stroll out, P18. Sebastian Vettel out, P17. And Mick Schumacher's out, P16. So Magnussen scrapes through, Zhou scrapes through, Ricciardo through in 13th. Bloody hell. It is what it is. The thing is, I'm gutted because Mick's Formula 1 career hangs in the balance. And you could do without getting knocked out in Q1 when your career's in the balance. You know, you've got to... He's running out of sessions to impress, basically. He's running out of sessions to turn heads, to prove that he's got what it takes. I hope they do keep him, but I don't know if you has to. Do you go Hulkenberg though? I mean, if I'm sat there thinking the choices for that final Haas seat and the final seat on the grid for 2023, the options really for Haas is keep Mick, go Antonio Giovinazzi, who had a few years in Formula One. What did Giovinazzi come in what, 16 to 21? So he had about 4 or 5 years. Did he rip up trees, Giovinazzi? Did he have incredible, incredible moments? Not many. Do you go Giovinazzi? Do you go Nico Hülkenberg? Now, has Hülkenberg had his time? This is the thing. Hülkenberg's probably about 35. Safe pair of hands. He'd probably be cheaper in terms of, he probably wouldn't put it in the wall as many times as Mick has this season. So it's cheaper in that regard. It's a safe pair of hands, but it's not the future, is it? If they get Nico Hülkenberg in, that's a 1-season bridge stopgap. That. But maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want a cheaper crash bill next year and a season or two stopgap with Hülkenberg, and then look to the future after that. But I hope they keep Mick. It's his last hope, with obviously Nick De Vries being confirmed at AlphaTauri and Logan Sargent being pretty much confirmed at Williams for next year, pending that he gets enough super license points, which he will do. So the seats are taken. The musical chairs is over. So Mick either gets the chair that he's on right now, or he ain't here. Oh my God, Albon. We're seeing a replay of Alexander Albon with the rear end fully. I tell you what, Alexander Albon's lucky not to stick it in the wall there at turn 8. Mad. Gunther Steiner, one car scrapes through to Q2 and the other one is out. So it's not. I'll tell you what, Aston Martin are well off the pace here in Mexico, and they've been coming on strong the second half of the season. They've been, Sebastian Vettel in the last half dozen races has been getting top 8s, top 6 and stuff. It's been, Aston Martin have really come on leaps and bounds, but hit the reset button on that, because they're starting, what are they on the grid? 17th, 18th on the grid, Aston Martin. I mean, is that the epitome of a car not suiting a circuit, or a circuit not suiting a car? You know what I mean? You go from competitive in Japan, very competitive in the US. I think at one point both Aston Martins were in the top 5 in the US Grand Prix last week. If it wasn't for Alonso going into the back of Stroll, which was Stroll's fault, if it wasn't for the Stroll incident, Aston Martin could have picked up like 20 points or more in the US. But I'd be surprised if they get any points out of this weekend. Looking at how they're struggling under braking, and I saw him in practice. Vettel wasn't happy, sliding around all over the place. Ends up 17th, 18th on the grid, having a nightmare. But yeah, we're about to get underway. Well, we are already underway for Q2, second part of qualifying, at the end of which positions 11th through 15th will be set, and the top 10 will fight it out for pole. So the fans there with cardboard cut out of Perez. Well, no one in a rush to get out there. Sergio Perez just sat in the car in the garage. Come on, guys, let's get out there. Let's do it. Your time's running out. 13 and a half minutes to go. And no one fancies it. No. It's like, you go first. No, you go first. And there's Mr. Skeleton. Fermin Laka Laka? But that looks like a bloke. No idea. I mean, he's Mr. Skeleton as far as I'm concerned. Come on, guys, let's get out there. Is Lewis going to be the first one out? They're just about to take the tyre blankets off, and it looks like Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes is about to head out then onto the circuit. Yeah, thumbs up, and away we go then. Brand new shiny set of soft tyres, it looks like, on the Hamilton's Mercedes. And George Russell as well, so it's both Mercedes going to be first out on track. The track and circuit merged into one word, but yeah, both Mercedes first out onto the track, and I think there's the two Alpha Tauris as well coming out behind them. Yeah, both Alpha Tauris and Sergio Perez as well coming out. And Lewis already weaving then to get heat into the tyres. It's hammer time, says a fan in the grandstand. And everyone now starts piling out of the garage with, well, I'm not surprised, there's 11.5 minutes to go. They've already... not taken part in the first 5 minutes. It's about time you get out there. Low speed corners, fastest. What? So Mick Schumacher was third fastest, or was even second fastest there in the slow speed corners, but he's out. So clearly not a big advantage to be the quickest in the slow corners. You're really quicker down the straights. Or even better, quicker in the high-speed corners. As Lewis Hamilton then, first man to start flying lap in Q2. 10.5 minutes to go into turn 1. And takes a good chunk of curb in 2 and 3, does Lewis. And he is going for it. Down to turn 4 comes Lewis Hamilton. Sharp left-hander, hairpin. Oh, that's not the ideal line into turn 5. And then 6, 7, double. Or is that just count as turn 6? I don't even know. And then is this 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11. I think that must just count as one corner, that double apex. It must do. I've been thinking it counts as 2 corners. Nope. It's just one. As Russell goes purple middle sector then. And Lewis sets the bar at a 118.552 then. Can Russell beat that? Nope, but it's extremely close. Russell sets a 118.565, so you're talking... 13 1,000ths of a second as Esteban Gutierrez in the Mercedes garage. Only former Formula 1 driver actually met in person. Esteban Gutierrez. I knew he was part of the Mercedes team somehow. As Verstappen crosses the line, goes P3. Okay. Have Mercedes now switched it on in Q2 in Mexico? Is this it? Okay. Martin Brundle saying that they're an old set of tyres, a scrub set of tyres from Max Verstappen there to set that time of 4/10 a second, 4/10 off the pace. Russell complaining about the front brakes in the Mercedes, but yeah, Mercedes 1-2 then as Bottas goes P3, 118.7. Bottas looking quick. This makes no sense. Bottas 2/10 off the pace. What? Valtteri Bottas for pole position, guys. Yeah, in the Alfa Romeo. Now that would be something. Now that would be a headline. No, he won't get a pole, of course he won't. But if he, maybe he can get top 6, top 8. Which in the Alfa Romeo that's only scored 1 point in the second half of the season, 1 point in the last 10 races. If he can start top 6, he might be on for a few more points. As we see, Leclerc now entering the final sector of the circuit into the stadium section. You've got to be careful at this hairpin. So, what can Leclerc do then in terms of lap time? Coming around the final corner then and goes P5. So it's Hamilton, Russell, Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, top 5. Then the two McLaren, 6th and 7th. And here comes Carlos Sainz then, with 6 minutes 50 seconds to go. Sainz crosses the line, then P7, so it's Ferrari. Only 5th and 7th at the moment, more than half a second off the pace of the Mercedes. Mercedes have arrived. It's a shame it's 20 races too late, but they have arrived. Ocon goes 5th, quicker than the Ferraris. Only by a midges, but still. Alpine looking good as well. It's now Hamilton, Russell, Bottas, Verstappen, Ocon top 5. Then Leclerc, Norris, Sainz. We see Jack Doohan in the Alpine garage. Jack Doohan, who did FP1 for Alpine yesterday. Leclerc replay on board. Then middle sector. Too much curb. They're trying to cut that corner too much. In turn... Is it turn... let's say that's 1. So you got 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn 8. It's turn 8. No, turn 8 has become a bit of a joke, to be honest. It's crazy how much they're cutting that. Five and a half minutes to go as Max Verstappen decides he wants another go at it. P4 at the moment for Verstappen, so he is safe at the minute. But 5 minutes to go then, and we start to look at the bottom 5. Because obviously this is just about being in that top 10 and getting through to the pole position shootout. So the bottom 5 at the minute then is Tsunoda, Perez, Zhou, Guan Yu, Gasly and Magnussen. Wow, the crowd, even as Perez saunters round on an outlap, the crowd on it's just, the atmosphere is just electric. I've never seen such support for one driver at a particular race before. You know, like I was saying before, Lewis doesn't even get this kind of support. Max doesn't. I mean, I know the Dutch army turn up, the Orange army turn up, you know, in Zandvoort and in Belgium and that, but it's not like this. This is like pandemonium. And Perez is the only one out there, yeah, with 4 minutes to go. Come on, guys, don't you want to improve? No, they'll be teeing it up for one final run. They'll all be out there in a minute. Yeah, Perez is in between all the traffic then. So as Perez now starts, he's the only man out there, and he starts a flying lap then. So he's out of kilter with everybody else. Maybe it's a good, you know, he's got no traffic. Maybe this is the way to go for Sergio Perez. Into turn 1 then, to the adoration of the crowd. I've never I've never heard anything like it in terms of support for a driver. It's unbelievable. Heading up the straight to turn 4. Nicely over the apex of turn 5. Now you got turn 6, double apex left-hander tight. And now you just down a couple of gears and chuck it into turn 7. Turn 8, take all the curb you can. Turn 9. And then the fast turn chicane of turn 10, 11. Don't go too wide on the exit. Round the flat out turn 12. Then down towards turn 13. Hard on the brakes. DRS slam shut. Don't run too wide on the exit. Now into the stadium section. Hairpin. Careful on the power coming out of there. Nice, neat and tidy so far. And now into the last couple of corners. Sergio Perez. 2.5 minutes to go in Q2. What can he do then? He's in P12 and out at the minute. And then does improve P3. Sergio Perez, a 1 minute 18.6. He should be safe with that. 63 1,000ths of a second off the Mercedes lap time. Yes, Ernesto, welcome in, bro. How you doing, mate? Hope you're good. The crowd is absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. And now everybody else is on their outlap now. So Sergio Perez has done his bit and will now come back into the... Oh yeah, I've got a little warning then. 2 minutes to go. I thought, what's that thing that flashed up on the screen? Then it's just the 2 minutes to go warning in Q2. So in the elimination zone at the moment then is Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Zhou Guanyu, Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen. They're the guys seriously under pressure to improve if they want to get through to Q3. As we now get the rest of the drivers starting their final flying laps of Q2 then. Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. DRS wide open into turn 1. How aggressive is he over turn 2? Yeah, they take all the curb and more in turn 2 and 3. Ooh, rear end twitching out of turn 3 then. Down the straight. 195 mile an hour before hitting the brakes into turn 4. Nicely over the apex, better than Sergio Perez's Red Bull. Nicely around turn 5 as well. And then the double apex turn 6. Now, just launch it into turn 7 now. Down a couple of gears, throw it in, over the curve. Then, yeah, ignore that one. Turn 8, virtually flat out, right over the curb. Oh, loses the rear end a little bit in between 10 and 11. Now, flat out around turn 12 and down into turn 13 he goes then. 30 seconds to go in Q2. Bunch of Halloween festivities. Oh, mate. Sounds good, mate. And Carlos Sainz then round the final corner to the line. Goes P2. Not bad at all. How has he split the Mercs? How the hell? Look at the gap of the top 5. Oh my god, the top 5 are separated by 0.5 of a second. This is incredibly competitive. This is incredibly competitive at the end of Q2. The top 5 separated by 0.5. This is anybody, one of 6 or 7 people can take pole position here today. Get your bets in, draw it from a hat, because this is extremely close. Tsunoda and Gasly both out then, both AlphaTauri's out. And Alonso just about through at the minute. Ricciardo out in P11 at best. So Ricciardo's definitely out. Tsunoda and Gasly definitely out. Leclerc Leclerc's on a risky one. Feels like he doesn't need to improve there in P8. Obviously this is just about being in that top 10. Alonso is scraping through at the minute. Where's Zhou and Magnussen though? Is Zhou and Magnussen not on a flying lap? Is that it? I feel like that's it, because I feel like the camera would cut to it if Zhou or Magnussen were on a flying lap. So I guess they're both out as well then. A little bit of porpoising from George Russell. I've not said that word for a good few months. A little bit of porpoising into turn 1 for George Russell's Mercedes. So yeah, I think that Ricciardo, Zhou, Tsunoda, Gasly and Magnussen are all out then. Replay with Pierre Gasly into turn 13. Gasly not happy with the performance of the AlphaTauri. Yeah, Magnussen now does cross the line. So, yeah, eliminated, just to confirm, then eliminated from Q2 in P11, Daniel Ricciardo for McLaren. P12, Zhou Guanyu for Alfa Romeo. P13, Yuki Tsunoda for AlphaTauri. P14, Pierre Gasly for AlphaTauri. And P15, Kevin Magnussen for Haas. So Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Verstappen, Perez, Bottas, Ocon, Leclerc, Norris and Alonso fight it out for pole position in about 5 minutes' time. Yeah, Sainz is through. Sainz can take pole. I tell you what, it's extremely close at the front. Miro coming P1, proper 12. Yeah, one day. Yeah, I'll drive it. You sponsor it. I'll drive it, Ernesto. Nah, I couldn't drive it. I'll talk about it. I can do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, the gap is between the top 5. Half a tenth. Have Leeds beaten Liverpool? Leeds have beat Liverpool 2-1. I tell you what, Liverpool are having a bloody nightmare, aren't they? Flipping heck, mate. We've got to go and beat. Yeah, Nitai, we've got to beat West Ham tomorrow. Now, take full advantage of that. Liverpool having a nightmare. So yeah, we're now in the lull between Q2 and Q3. Before the pole position shootout, who's it going to be? Who's going to be on pole? I think it can be anyone. I think it can be any one of 6 drivers at least. Valtteri Bottas could stick a needle in and get in amongst it. So could Fernando Alonso. You never know what Lando Norris could do. But I think really the pole position battle is between Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, Sainz and Perez. Mega. It could be mega. Hold on to pole, Lewis. Well, these times are all going to be reset now, Matty. Well, for the top 10 anyway. It's all going to be reset and we go for Q3. So Lewis is your pick. Yeah, I'd like Lewis to get it. Daniel Ricciardo, team radio, P11. Ooh, close. So Ricciardo just been informed he's been knocked out in P11, which is not horrendous, is it? P11. Sonoda saying this track position was really bad. Zhou Guanyu, team radio. Tried, but it wasn't enough today. P12. Zhou Guanyu will start the Mexico City Grand Prix from tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow night UK time. Yeah, race starting 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Lights out, 8 p.m. I'll be live from 7:30, do a bit of a from the season up to now, and have a general waffle on, and then buckle up for the race 8 p.m. We'll be fully on it. But yeah, welcome in Matty. Ernesto's here. But yeah, we're about to get Q3 underway then, and it is the last few races have been so competitive in qualifying. The gaps in what was before Austin? Japan. I think the gaps in Japan was extremely close as well. And in Austin, Texas, we're seeing thousandths of a second between Ferraris, Red Bulls and Mercedes. It's anybody's game this today. It's anybody's game. Yeah, Paul saying track position's going to be key. Charles Leclerc sat in the Ferrari ready to go. Will he get another pole position? You know, I think, I'll tell you what, Charles Leclerc's got a handful of pole positions this season, but it's not many wins. You know, I don't know the exact stats, but I would reckon Charles Leclerc's probably had about 10 pole positions and about 3 wins. Brutal in terms of conversion rate. From pole to victory, Leclerc is like... probably got one of the worst records going from pole to victory. You know, Leclerc, more often than not, gets the pole position on the Saturday, but then he's beaten by Max on the Sunday through one reason or another, whether it's poor reliability, driver error, strategy error, absolute nightmare, a combination of all three. But it always ends up Max beats him on the Sunday. But I fancy a Mercedes here today. I fancy a Mercedes. Can George slap it on pole? Can Lewis slap it on pole? Good a chance as any right now. Verstappen will get pole, unfortunately. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe not. Lewis. I reckon Lewis might pull something out of the bag here. He's certainly capable of it. No, do you know what? I'll go... Imagine if Perez does it. That'd be epic. I'd love a Perez pole, probably more than a Hamilton pole, really. If Perez slaps it on pole position... That's what I want to see, I think. I want to see the Perez pole, yeah. But I don't think we will. We'll probably... I say Leclerc. Yeah. I think it'll be Leclerc. I hope it's Perez. But I'd love to see Lewis slap it down there. That'd be next level. If Mercedes get pole position here in dry conditions, fair and square. You know, Russell got that pole in Hungary, but it was kind of a weird one in mixed conditions. Verstappen bins it into the stadium. Verstappen always does the jibber jabber. What's that? What's a jibber jabber? No, I'd never wish misfortune on any of these drivers. The only, do you know, this is the God's honest truth. The only driver that I've ever disliked is Nico Rosberg, and he's been retired about 6 years, so I'm happy as Larry me. He was the only one that I thought, nah, I don't really like you. I don't, you know, he's the only one where it's like, where he'd crash and I'd go, yeah, fuck, you know what I mean? He'd DNF and I'd go, yeah, fucking, yeah, Rosberg's out. He's the only one that I had like a spiteful, like, get out. Since he's been retired, I've been laid back and gone, let's have a race. I don't mind who wins. I love them all. No, obviously, you have your favourites, don't you? Whatever, you know. But, yeah, I've not really had that thing of where it's like, oh, I hope he crashes. You know? No, only with Rosberg. Didn't like him. But he's long gone. So, anyway, Perez is purple sector 1. Oh, if Perez gets pole, mate. Scenes. If Perez gets pole right now. Look it up. Is that a good idea to look it up? Is it a good idea, not Nitai, or what? Or am I down a path that I shouldn't be down? Anyway, Perez is on a flying lap in Q3. There is 9 minutes to go, at the end of which we will know who is on pole for Mexico City. And what an atmosphere it is as Perez comes through the stadium section and round the final corner. His purple middle sector is Perez, and to the line then sets a banker lap of a 1 minute 18.3. Can anybody beat that early doors in Q3 then? Here comes Sainz to the line. doesn't beat it. So it's an 18.3 for Sainz, 0.2 of a second slower. And Leclerc, 18.8. Leclerc's way off it. Leclerc, half a second off. Here comes Max Verstappen then. Norris goes fourth. Verstappen's in the final sector. He's gone purple sector 1. So fastest of anybody in the first sector for Verstappen as he comes around the final corner now. Ocon goes P5. Albeit 1.6 seconds off the pace. Here comes Verstappen, then goes quickest by 0.2. So it's Red Bull 1-2 at the moment, provisionally, with 8 minutes to go. Verstappen on a 17.9. Bottas splits the Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton goes P2 on an 18 flat. It's a 10.5 in it. Here comes George Russell, goes quicker than his teammate. So it's Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Bottas, quicker than Leclerc. And then Norris, and then the two Alpines, 9th and 10th. Well, first blood, Max Verstappen, a 17.9. And Hamilton's lap time gets deleted. Hamilton's lap time has just been deleted. Wow, we're going to see why in a minute. It's Carlos Sainz. Why? He's just put the middle of the car over the curb and just full toboggan mode. No, mate, you can't do that. Look at this, what they're doing. That's crazy what they're doing through turn 8. It's crazy what Carlos Sainz is doing through. He's putting the middle of the car, he's putting the floor of the car entirely over the curb and just sliding round. Full like a sledge on a snowy day. Just sliding across the curb. It's crazy, man. Someone's gonna have a big crash doing that. Someone's gonna think they can put the middle of the car over that, slide it on the floor across, and just spin and boom in the wall, 150 mile an hour. GG's. It's gonna be. What Sainz is doing there is mad. He's got another chance, Matty. He's got another chance. It's not all over yet. He's got to channel Nico. Ah, no, I ain't checking that out. There's more chance of Rosberg being on this channel than there is me being on Rosberg's channel. I'll tell you that for a fact. Hamilton track limits. Yeah, I know. He'll be alright. He'll be alright. He's got another chance. Here comes Fernando Alonso to the line. P7. So quicker than Norris and Ocon. Yeah, just within a second, like they're saying. So provisionally then, first lap's done. They'll have another go at the right of the death, as they do. But with 5 minutes to go, it is Verstappen, Russell, Perez, Sainz, Bottas, P5. Leclerc, Alonso, Norris, Ocon, Hamilton. I don't know where, how, why, or what this pace is from Valtteri Bottas, but he's looking rapid. I don't know where the hell he's drawing this kind of a performance from. Although the gap between P4 and 5 is 4.5, so call it half a second. Yeah, it's half a second gap between Sainz in 4th and Bottas in 5th, so I imagine Leclerc might slot into that. Then we'll see where Norris... Surely Norris and Ocon can improve on that, can't they? Ocon 1.9 seconds off. Is that really all they've got? I would hope not. When Alonso is like 0.9 of a second quicker than Ocon, I would hope that Ocon's got more to give on that respect. But yeah, 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go, and they're just about to send Sergio Perez out then on a brand new shiny set of soft tyres for one more go. This is it. Worst case scenario for Aston Martin. It pretty much is, isn't it? What are they? 18th and what are they? 17th and 18th. I mean, unless your name's Nicholas Latifi, yeah, this is worst case scenario. Awful. I don't know where the pace has gone. You know, I was saying before, you know, Vettel's been getting top 8s, top 6s. They've been getting a good chunk of points every race recently. Aston Martin, they ain't going to get any points out of this weekend, are they? I mean, it'd be unlikely. And then with Bottas in the top 10, pulling a madness in P5 at the minute, can Alfa Romeo start scoring points? The battle for P6 is not over yet. These are the kind of things you've got to look at when the championship's wrapped up, you know what I mean? Battle for P6. That's what it's all about. Not to mention the battle for P4, Alpine v McLaren. You know, that's where, you know, that's headline news. As far as I'm concerned, it is anyway. Here they come then. This is for pole position in Mexico. And is he going to be... Oh, if it's Sergio Perez, mate. It will literally... I don't even know what will happen. I don't know what will happen if Perez wins the race. There'll be a stampede if Perez wins the race tomorrow. Oh, mate. It'll be dangerous. It'll be that crazy. It'll be on a dangerous levels of pandemonium if Perez wins. Anyway, 2 minutes to go and he's going to be first man to cross the line to start the final flying lap in Q3. Stroll is last. Heavy one, that, Nitai. No way. Little dramas tomorrow. I hope we do. I hope we see him 4 wide in turn 1. That's what I want tomorrow in the race. Anyway, this is it then. 2 minutes to go. Let's have it. Who's got it? Still got it, never lose it. Fernando Alonso. And Perez is going to be the first one to set the bar. Needs a purple middle sector, does Perez. Come on. If Perez goes purple middle, it's game on. Go on, Sergio, lad. At home, if you get pole, you know it's going mental. Oh, he's the 10th off, I think. He's got a chance. He's got a chance, as Perez. He's got a chance. Come on, Checo. He's got a chance. Go on then, Checo. Let's see what you got. Oh, no, it's not quick enough. Improves, but third at best. Third at best for Perez. Not quite for Sergio Perez. Verstappen's gone quickest of anybody in Sector 1. I tell you what, the Ferraris weren't great in Sector 1. Here comes their Sainz to the line then. Doesn't improve. P4 at best for Carlos Sainz. I tell you what, as the track had the best of it. Is the track falling off? Leclerc beats Bottas. But it's only 4th and 5th for Ferrari. Here comes Norris into P6. Oh, Bottas is dropping down now. Oh my God, Hamilton's gone purple middle sector. Here we go. This is it. Verstappen to the line. Improves a 1 minute 17.775 for Max Verstappen. Now it's down to the Mercedes boys. Where's Lewis? Cut to Lewis Hamilton round the final corner. Come on, Lewis. Oh, only P3. Only P3. Can George do it? Can George do it? George is purple middle sector. Go on, George. 9 seconds to go. Let's go. No, it's Max Verstappen again. It's Max Verstappen. Nitai was right all along. It's Mercedes second and third. It's Mercedes second and third. I tell you what, not many improved on that final lap. Only Verstappen and Leclerc improved, I think. Everybody else, well, improved a little bit, but the best runs were the first runs of Q3. Max Verstappen, pole position in Mexico City. Russell start P2, then Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Bottas, Leclerc, Norris, and then Alonso, Ocon round off the top 10 with both Alpines. Bottas P6 on the grid is not a bad effort at all. Has Leclerc's lap time been... Bottas splits the Ferraris. Bottas P6 for Alfa Romeo. What a drive. What a lap. So Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Bottas, Leclerc. Oh, George could have got it, man. The gap between Russell and Hamilton for second and third is 5 thousandths of a second. Whew. Very close. But Max Verstappen comes in trumps. Nitai knew it all along. Max is an alien. I'm starting to think he might be, yeah, Matty. I'm starting to think so. He's too dominant, mate. Yeah, too dominant. Russell take out Verstappen? It could be. McLaren v Alpine. Yeah. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it is, isn't it? McLaren v Alpine is 8, 9, 10, 11. Is this a new theme song? Oh, it's the Mexican version. It's the Mexican version of the... It's the Mexican version of the Formula 1 theme, which is absolutely 10 out of 10. Right, that's it, guys. Catch what I had about that. Catch me tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. I will be live. Let me just get that going. Yeah, tomorrow I will be live at 7:30 p.m. for Lights Out 8 p.m. And yeah, please do drop me a like, guys, if you have enjoyed the stream. And see you tomorrow. Subscribe if you're into Formula 1. I'm live every single qualifying, every single race. Only 3 more to go. Mexico, then a couple of weeks, we're in Brazil, and then we finish the season in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for joining. And Max Verstappen on pole position beats the Mercedes by 0.3 of a second in the end. An absolute chasm in Formula 1 terms. It was supposed to be thousandths of a second. It ended up tenths of a second. It's Verstappen again. And continues his domination of the 2022 season. Mercedes had a chance. And Valtteri Bottas splitting the Ferraris. See you guys. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for being in, everybody that's watched. And yeah, 7:30 tomorrow night. Peace out, guys. See you on the next one.